Hey everyone, and welcome to J is for Justice. I am Jay. I am your host. If you are new here and you are not subscribed, please click the subscribe button. And as always, if you like my video, please click that thumbs up. It's a great way to support your favorite creators, and it doesn't cost y'all a thing. Not a thing.
The live guest on a podcast called J is for Justice.
I think there's just hope that she returns no matter what. Oh my God, that's Megan's house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then,
wait a second, you guys. We have breaking news. All of a sudden in the chat, there was breaking news that there was a raid going on in Houston, Texas. It may be connected to a high-profile case.
That's her best friend. She would not be there.
So, yeah, I guess we'll just start from your story. What happened? How'd you meet Alex Cox?
Okay, so let me go back in time. So we met September of, let's see, that was 2013. And so in my country, in Colombia, we have a celebration which is pretty much like Valentine's Day here, but it's called Love and Friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only for couples, but also for friends. And you like exchange, presents with your friends or your boyfriend or whatever. So, this agency had what they call a love tour. And my friend, she was part of the agency because I guess she wanted a husband. She was single. She was like single for so many years. And then she told me if I wanted to come with her to the event. And so I thought it was awkward because I had never been part of something like that. So at the time we were working together and honestly speaking, we were not making much money. So I'm always like looking for ways to make money. So I told her, like, why don't we email the owner of this business and, we just ask him if he's looking for, interpreters, and maybe we can make some extra money. And so she did, and he replied, I am not going to be, like giving you the name of the agency and all that stuff, because obviously they have like pictures. I mean, not pictures of me or Alex, but I know that people can definitely like find these people and even pay them money for them to like get those pictures out. And I definitely don't want that.
No. I don't want anything like that to happen to you.
No. Yeah, no. Now, I mean, like I said, like my husband is super supportive, but like I waited for the longest time for him to be out of the house because even though he knows and, he understands it's part of, it was a mistake that I made. It's just not cool to be like talking about you being with another guy. I don't know. It's I wouldn't like it.
It's a respect thing. Yeah, it's a respect thing.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we ended up getting hired for this event. Now, so it was, I believe it was like September. It could have been between September 7th and the 10th when we met. And so, we were assigned a person, and there were like 10 guys, maybe 12. And there were like almost like 500 women. Like there was a lot of women there. And I was introduced to Alex. Actually, I wasn't even introduced to him. I was told, like, from a distance, they showed me, like, that's going to be the person you're going to be working with. So I said, okay, cool. So I walked towards him and, and I say, hey, my name is Maria. And he said, hi, my name is Alex Cox. And we started talking, and then right away I really liked his personality because I'm very goofy. Like I don't know.
What was Alex wearing? Like, do you remember what he looked when you first saw him? Like, what did you think? What was he wearing?
Yeah, so he was wearing like brown dress pants, like they were like light in color,
Mm-hmm.
and he was wearing regular dress shoes because it was the first night, so it wasn't like
So it was like
like
casual.
yeah, it was like casual. It wasn't like like too elegant of an event
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
first night. And then he was also wearing like a long sleeve shirt. I remember it was blue, um and it is a kind of shirt, like I don't know if he got it here in the States or in Colombia, but it's a kind of shirt that we call guayabera. And he was wearing that.
What
And
is that? What? Explain that. What is that?
so the shirts that we call guayabera are made out of linen or linen. I don't know
Oh,
exactly how
okay.
to
Yeah. So
pronounce
they're
it.
that thin cotton linen,
Yeah,
like
and
a
then
beachy kind of shirt.
right. But like I
Okay.
said, it was like a light blue, and
Mm-hmm.
they're actually pretty cool because the weather where I come from is hot. It's like Florida kind of hot weather, very humid. So, that fabric actually keeps you fresh.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so that's what he was wearing. And
So he didn't
he's
stand out. He blended right in. He was just like a normal guy.
yeah, definitely. But he was very charming. Like, we started talking, and he told me that he yeah, that he was a comedian, that he was a truck driver, and that he was a licensed massage therapist. I think that when I wrote my post, I said that he was a certified massage therapist, but
Yeah.
he's actually a licensed massage or
Right.
well,
Right. Well, same difference. Yeah.
yeah, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, he was very charming. He made me laugh a lot, and we hit it off from the beginning. Like the first night, we talked for a while, and then the first night, so the host, or it was the owner of the business, he so we were in a hotel, and we were in one of the rooms, and then the host would get on like a kind of like a stage that they had, and he would be like, welcome ladies and gentlemen, and then they had an interpreter interpreting Spanish, and they would be like, and here comes such and such from California, and then the ladies would like cheer up and go like woo, like
Mm-hmm.
wild. And then um and when I remember that when it was his turn, he kind of like started dancing down the aisle, and then he got on the stage, and then he said the same thing: my name is Alex, I come from Arizona. And then he said something like, I'm looking for a nice lady to have a serious relationship. um and everybody would applaud after whatever they said. And yeah, that's what happened
Okay,
then.
so that was the first night. There was like an introduction to the people that worked in this company. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, it was like the guys that were looking for
Mm.
for a partner.
Okay, so they went on stage and
Right.
introduced themselves, and there was how many girls?
Almost 500, and it was only like maybe 10 to 15 guys. It was like a lot of women.
Wow. So did they
Oh my
pick
gosh.
or did you choose them?
So the way it worked was, so after the introduction, I mean, like that wasn't the only thing. Like after,
Oh, okay. No,
yeah,
go ahead.
after the introduction, um, they would say like, okay, now we have a buffet or we have drinks, and you guys, can enjoy the rest of the night or whatever. So they had like a large buffet in the salon or the room, excuse me. And you know, you would just casually go and grab some food or a drink or whatever. I don't drink, but I definitely eat. I love food. And I was with him all the time. So wherever he went, I had to be with him. And so the way it worked was, if he saw someone in the room that he thought was cute, um, we would approach that person, or if he was too shy, I would go by myself and say, hey, you see that gentleman over there? He's interested in talking to you. Would you be interested? And some girls would say like, like, no, he's too old for me, because this girl, like the age is like from 18 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So, some girls would say like, no, he could be my father,
Mm-hmm.
or no, I don't like him. Or some others would be like, oh yeah, he's cute, I'll talk to him. So we did that for part of the night, and he spoke to different girls, and I would interpret whatever they were saying. But that first night, I don't remember him like saying anything like crazy or disrespectful. He would just tell me like, I like, like, I think this girl is cute, or she sounds like she's smart. I would go on a date with this person or whatever. What happened that first night though, he met this girl and they started talking, and she spoke a little bit of English, and then they left. They left for the night. And then I didn't see him the rest of the night. I stayed with my friend, and then we left. And then I came back the next day for the next event, and then he paid me for the work that I had done the night before.
Can I ask you, do you know if his dad was there with him, or was he there with any friends or family members?
Oh my gosh, no. No, but like I would totally remember if Barry Cox had been there, because he looks creepy to me.
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't with anybody. And like I said, we were able to see the guys on the stage. He was by himself. He wasn't there with friends or with any family members that I know of.
Hmm. So what year did this happen?
It was 2013.
In 2013. And he was living in Arizona at that time.
Yeah, he was living in Arizona.
So when he paid you, was that the next day?
It was the next day. Mm-hmm.
His demeanor was pretty like calm, cool, collective, very respectful in the crowd. Like,
Yeah, and that's the reason why I was so shocked when I found out what happened, because I was like, I mean, I cannot tell you like, oh, I knew this person, I know that they would have not dared to do something like what they claim he did. But what I remember of him, he was pretty much a very normal guy. He was sweet. He was extremely funny. He was cool. So yeah, the second day, he was normal. I think that day he was wearing jeans and sneakers and a t-shirt. One thing about him is that he always made sure he smelled really good, and he did.
Really?
He did. I don't know what kind of perfume or lotion or whatever he was wearing, but he always smelled very good. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on day 2 with Alex, right?
Yeah, we're on day 2. So
how do you guys hook up day 2? Like, where did you guys stay?
So day 2, he was still at his hotel, and the hotel he was staying at was the same hotel where the event was happening.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so by day 2, we met, and that night they had a pool party, if I'm not mistaken. So again, they had, like a very large buffet, and a lot of girls were there. Now, not all of the girls were there the second night, because pretty much, I'm trying to find like nice words to say this. Pretty much they only invited the ones that the guys picked.
Okay.
I remember that the owner carried some like photo albums with him, And on these photo albums, they had pictures of the girls. And I know that they they would show the albums to the gentlemen, and they would like handpick the girls, like, oh, this one is cute, okay, she should come. This one is cute, oh yeah, this one is hot, this one is sexy. And I don't know what else transpired when they were like picking the girls. I always thought that, I mean, if you want me to be honest, like after that event was like over, uh it felt a little bit like there was some sort of legal trafficking going on. Like, I don't know, it was like so weird. Like someone would look at an album and say like, okay,
that doesn't sound right at all.
you know what I'm saying? It was weird. It was like,
it's very sick.
It is demeaning. Like someone would look at, you know, at your picture on an album and just decides to bring you to a place just because of your looks.
You're an outfit in a catalog.
Yes.
Right. So that was like kind of weird. So that night, those were the girls that were there. You know, like the ones with the cute faces or the big boobs and the big butts. Or, you know, whoever these people or the guys liked. Now, I should say that the guys that were there were not only guys from the United States. There were like two maybe from Europe, maybe like one from Africa, and maybe like one from Australia. Yeah.
Do you know how much these guys paid?
Yes. So let me see. Let me think. So they had different packages that they offered. Like
packages?
Yeah, like packages, like travel packages. Like they would say, okay, it's gonna be $2,100 with 3 nights at the hotel included, and your flight. Or if they didn't want to do that, then they had the option just to pay for the tour. The tour itself, and the tour lasted like, I believe it was like 5 days or a week.
Okay.
It was like maybe $550 just for them to be able to have access to these albums that I'm telling you about and like attend the party, which is like you know, like a round business, because when you like calculate how much it is in pesos, like if you do the calculation with the exchange rate and you keep into account there were like 10 to 15 guys, that is a lot of money just for you to be able to attend, you know, a party or an event that lasted like 3 hours each day. And they didn't have an event every day. Like out of the 5 or 7 days, it was only like 3 events. The rest of the time you were on your own.
So is this something they do that's reoccurring? Like every week there's a new batch of guys?
Not every week. They do that maybe, I want to say maybe 4 times a year.
If you don't mind me asking, how much do you women get paid? Like, is there a profit that you guys make?
Well, me as an interpreter, I did. Like they paid me the equivalent to maybe $20 per event, but the guys, like the person that you were working with, they would have to pay you, and you would set your own rate, but they would give you an idea of how much usually people charge. So yeah, I remember that Alex was paying me like back then, I don't know, he was probably paying me like $30 an hour.
Oh, okay. So you were there just to interpret?
Yeah, I was only there to interpret. Like I said, my friend was part of this, you know, shit show, and she wanted me to go. She wanted me to go with her, but I I mean, I didn't have a reason to do that, you know. I mean, I think I'm a smart girl, and I'm good looking. Like, I don't need to go and, you know, show myself like, pick me. I mean, I'm not
Right.
saying
How
that
did your... No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying that every girl that does that, you know, like, has low self-esteem or whatever, but I just don't, I had never like thought even about it, and it wasn't my first time working for an agency like that. But it was my first time working for this one. And the, like, if I compared this experience to the other experiences that I had, there was something wrong with this one, definitely, because of what I'm telling you. Like, they would have these albums and show the girls to the man, and they would pick. So,
And they were all over 18, for sure.
you know what? I cannot, I definitely cannot answer that, because there's no way that I can, that I could verify that they were. There were some girls that looked pretty young. But again, I mean, one thing that Colombian women have is that they can, sometimes they don't look their age. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Colombian
like
women. Yes. I have a friend here in Florida that's from Colombia, and she's my age, and she looks like she's 30. So, I mean, literally, she's 45 years old, and she looks 30.
yeah, like sometimes when I go to concerts here, they still ask me for an ID, and then when they look at it, they're like, "Whoa!" So
That's nice, though.
it is nice. So yeah, I mean, I believe that they were all over 18. I believe so.
So you spoke about these agencies. How
Mhm.
many agencies do you think that there are in that area alone?
Well, in my, like, if I'm gonna talk about my hometown, I would say back then, because I don't know about now, but back then they probably had anywhere from 3 to 4. Now, these agencies, they didn't only do events in my hometown. They went to other cities as well. I don't know if you've ever heard of Medellin.
I have not.
Okay, the city of Medellin, like Pablo Escobar.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she was like, "Oh, okay. I know what that is."
I've heard of that area.
So, Medellin, during the, you know, I want to say during the past 10 years, has become a very popular destination because, well, sadly, you know, the moment you mention Colombia, the first thing that people say is Pablo Escobar, but I don't blame them, because that is all that Netflix and television in general shows about, you know, my home country. And it is true, cocaine was a problem back in the 80s. I remember, you know, I was a child, and yeah, but like Escobar was the man. I don't think he was, but you know, he was the man at the moment. And the women from Medellin, they're very, very beautiful. Like, their faces, oh my goodness, beautiful women. And the reason why is because we had a lot of European immigration back in the early 1900s, I believe.
Mhm.
So you can see that mix of, you know, you can see like the
Cultures.
background of the European. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing that Medellin is famous for is because of the drug problem that they had, but that has changed a lot during the past 10 years, because the city is beautiful. It was to be very insecure. It's not anymore. And there's a lot of people that want to go there and travel. But one thing that, like, one of the reasons why they want to go to Medellin is because there is a lot of, I don't know if I should call it prostitution. Maybe I'm being too nice because it hurts to talk bad about my country, but there's a lot of, so it's these women that they call prepaid girls, like a prepaid cell phone.
Oh my gosh.
So it's pretty much like, you know, it's a beautiful girl with fake boobs and ass, and they're just pretty. They're beautiful. They look like dolls, and
Yeah, they're like
those are the kind.
trophies.
Yeah, so those are the kind of girls that these businessmen, especially businessmen, wanna they wanna go out with them to take them to places like big parties and stuff like that. But of course, it's prostitution. I mean, they're getting paid big money. Like, I'm talking like heavy money for each night. And the only reason why I know this is because, I mean, it's something like normal that people talk about. You see it on the news.
Yeah.
Even famous, like, people that appear on television, like famous models, rumor has it that they're prepaid girls. And so they would do these love tours, I should say, in Medellin. But I mean, I don't know what happened in Medellin, but when you think about Medellin, you know that things probably, they function more in like in a kind of like a prostitution orbit, like pretty straightforward, because the women from Medellin are like that. They're pretty straightforward, and the society there, they don't really have a problem talking about it or even doing it. So I always found it curious that they would go there and also do these tours. And besides that city, they would also go to cities like Santa Marta and Cartagena. Cartagena is also very famous. It's a touristic destination. So
it's
yeah,
tropical.
it is tropical. Yeah.
So, wow, it's mind blowing to hear this, like, from someone firsthand. I mean, honestly, I've heard stories like this, and you're right, it's prostitution. And
Yeah.
I mean, a photo album with photos, I've only seen that in movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
No?
it happened.
It makes me sad.
It is sad. It is sad because, I mean, I guess these girls, I don't really know the reasons why they were there. Maybe they were in a desperate situation and they were really trying to get like a green card and come here in hopes of getting a better life. Or maybe they truly were looking, for love. But I can tell you that out of 10 or 15 men that are there, maybe half are looking for a serious relationship. Like, during that tour, there was even one girl that apparently slept with the one guy the first night, and he hit her in the middle of the night. He was violent, and I was told that she was bleeding, that they called the police, and they took her to the ER. Yeah.
It's so sad.
It is sad.
So what was Alex looking for?
So Alex told me that he was looking for a serious relationship. He said that he was truly looking for a wife. That's what he told me.
Wow. So did he find anyone? I mean, the girl that he disappeared with, did he spend any more time with her the rest of the time, or?
No. So the next day, I asked him. I said, "So what's up with that girl?" And he said, "Well, nothing." And I said, "Where do you guys go?" And he said, "We went to my room." And I said, "Okay, well, what did you guys do?" And he said, like, "Nothing. We just talked." And I'm gonna be super honest with you. I mean, even though I was 27, I was very naive, and I truly believed him. He's like, I mean, she was cool, but I don't know. I think she was kind of like silly, like she didn't have much to say. So I'm thinking to myself, like, well, of course. I mean, she speaks broken English. Maybe she didn't know how to communicate with you.
Right.
But to be honest, if you want me to be honest, I think they did it that night. I think they did it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
That's what he was getting at. Yeah. Did he hit on you at all?
All right. So this is what happened. So that night, the second night.
Give it to me, girl. Give it to me.
if we go back to the second night, so like I said, that was a pool party. And I remember, people were like sitting outside, and some girls were by the pool. They were swimming, talking to the guys, and then they decided to do like a dancing contest. And I, he was one thing about Alex is that he was shy. He was kind of shy. So he was sitting with me, and I was like, okay, so what are you gonna do now? Are you gonna go dance? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I don't know how to dance. And I'm like, come on, you should do it. I mean, like, what the heck? Like, nobody knows you here. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to. Just go and do it. Have fun. And I remember that he got up, and one of the things that someone mentioned online when Andrea posted the story is that I said that he was very tall, and some people think that he wasn't. Well, to me he was, because I'm short.
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'3".
Okay, so even if he was 5'10", that would be tall to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
but
basically you're like Dre, and everybody's tall to both of you, because you guys are both short.
Okay, is that how tall he is? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. No, I was just throwing that out there. He looks like a big guy to me, he looks like a tall, like, big guy.
He was like a big teddy bear. I mean, I think he was probably like 6. He was
6
tall
feet,
to
yeah.
me.
Yeah. So did he ever talk to you about his family at all?
So not really. He told me that, and this was like days after, like when we were already, quote unquote, together.
Oh, I had cut you off. I'm sorry. Keep going. We're on the second night.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so we were on the second night. So yeah, he did that. He was dancing, and he had a good time. And so I was supposed to come back the next day after the event was over that night, because you know what? One thing I should mention is Alex never had a drink. He never did. He never did. And I can't quite remember if I asked him, but I never saw him drinking. So I was supposed to meet with him the next day, because he was gonna go out with one of the girls that he met that night at the pool party. So I showed up the next day, like around lunchtime, and I was waiting for him downstairs. He had like a prepaid cell phone, so I would text him like, hey, I'm here, and he would come downstairs and meet with me. So he came downstairs that day. That day we didn't have an event. I think there was no event that day. So he came downstairs and he said, okay, well, let's wait for such and such. So I would sit there, with him. And, the minute he met me that day, I would start working. So he was paying me even if I was just talking to him and not interpreting, because it was my time. So we waited and waited. I want to say maybe we waited over an hour. The girl never showed up. And then he said to me, I don't think she's going to come. And I said, okay, so what would you like to do? And he said, why don't you show me around? Let's go out. I'll pay for lunch. So I was like, okay. So we went out, and I took him to a very nice area of the city, and I took him to my favorite Chinese restaurant. And while we were there, I am kind of clumsy. So when they brought the food, I remember that there was a water jar on the table, and I accidentally like hit it with my elbow, and then there was like water all over the place, and I was like so embarrassed because his pants, he was wearing shorts that day. His pants were like wet, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna like fire me. I'm like, I am so sorry. And then I'm grabbing napkins and trying to like
Dry him off.
yeah. And he started laughing, and he's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, things happen. And so I started laughing too, but I think I started laughing because I was nervous. But he made me like feel so good about it, like it's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was very nice about it. He's like, it's fine, don't worry about it.
So he was easygoing, laid back, huh?
He was, definitely.
Did
yeah.
he strike you as like the type of person that maybe was a little slow? I don't know if that's the proper word. I mean, I don't really know how else to ask the question. Did he seem like he was smart?
I think he was.
Yeah?
Yeah, he didn't seem like someone uneducated or dumb. I know.
Did he? Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to say it in a way, where you understand where I'm coming from. Like, was he mentally a little slow? Did he strike you as being a little bit mentally off at all?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, we always had something to talk about. And when the way he expressed himself, it was, I mean, he sounded like someone that had a little bit of, at least basic education.
Mm-hmm.
And, we always had like a topic, and we would talk about different things. He would tell me about his life in the States, what he did for work, and we would talk about politics. We would talk about food, or we would make fun of people.
Right. So you guys, you clowned around. He was a clown, right?
We clowned around a lot, and I think that's the reason, one of the reasons why we connected, because I'm always goofing around, and I'm always like, I'm not mean, but I'm always like making fun of situations, and like people, even myself, like I laugh at myself because I'm a little bit crazy. So yeah, I mean, no, he didn't seem to be like slow or mentally challenged at all.
Okay.
So after, we were done eating, we went across the street, because then there was my favorite French fast food restaurant, and I love vanilla ice cream. So I told him about the French vanilla ice cream, and he said he'd never had that before. So we went, and he got like an ice cream cone, and so did I. And we walked around the area while we were eating our ice cream, and he said he loved it, and he really liked, the Chinese food and everything else. And we finally went back to the hotel, and he paid me, and then I left. Then there was the fourth day. To be honest with you, I don't remember what we did on the fourth day. Oh, no, I do. Hold on. So the fourth day was beach day. So again, he was supposed to meet a second girl that he had met on the second day, or at the pool party. And
the one that didn't show up?
Another one.
Oh, another one. Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that didn't show up, he was like, forget her.
Yeah, he wouldn't. So if someone didn't show up, he wouldn't insist.
Okay.
So
he was like, yeah, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. And after I posted or Andrea posted my story, now I don't know if he was like making things up. I don't know, because people were like, it sounds like, he was either making things up, or he was canceling the other girls because it would be easier to hang out with the pretty girl who speaks English. So I don't know if that's what he was trying to do.
So maybe he had his eye on you.
Maybe. I mean, like, people started saying things that started making sense to me, but he's not around anymore to ask him. So.
Right.
So I'm just making assumptions. But anyway, so that Sunday, it was Sunday, and I showed up and they had like this van or coach. It was like a coach bus, more like it. Yeah. And again, this time, the girls that came were only the girls that the gentleman wanted there. So we waited for the girl. I showed up earlier because he said that he had invited the girl for breakfast at the hotel. So we waited for her. She didn't show up. So he told me, do you want to come have breakfast with me really quickly? So we had, you know, a bite of something, and then we got on the bus. So we drove all the way to the beach. When we got there, we went to the beach house, and you know, they had a pool and they were playing music. It was really nice. It was like a party, like another pool party, but during the day. And so that's when we started talking a little bit more, like more in a personal level. I remember that we were sitting under a tree, and there was, I don't know this guy. I don't even remember his name, but this is what the other women were saying, like the other interpreters. They were saying that there was this guy there, an African-American gentleman, and they said that he was a famous realtor from from Los Angeles. Yeah, it was either California or I think it was LA, from LA. And they were like, he has a lot of money or whatever. So Alex and I were sitting and we're talking, and the guy is sitting like right across from us, like maybe, I don't know, maybe like 20 feet away. Like this place was big. Okay. And then we were talking, and then he's telling me like, look at that guy, because the guy had like 3 women around him. He's like, look at that guy. He probably thinks that, he started making inappropriate jokes about the guy. He started saying things like, he probably thinks that he has the biggest COCK in the world, and that's how he can get the girl, and that's how he can get the girls or whatever. And then I said to him, I said, oh, okay. And then, you know, we're like goofing around or whatever. And then one of the girls that was with the guy, she came over and she says to me, you know, the gentleman that's sitting over there, he's asking if you want to date with him. And I said, I am working. I am not part of the agency. And I think you know that. She's like, yeah, but you know, sometimes that happens. And I said, okay, well, but you can tell him that I said thank you. And so when she left, like I was like a teenage girl. I was telling Alex like, oh my gosh, like, can you believe this guy is like asking me out? Like, is he crazy? And then I said to him that the guy had like his man boobs looked like 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 chocolate donuts, and he
my God.
he just started laughing like so hard that tears were coming out of his eyes. He was just he was just laughing. And that's when I don't know, like something weird happened. Like I think that's when I realized that I liked him, and maybe that's when he realized that he liked me. And so after that, I asked him if he wanted to go, you know, to the beach, and he said, yeah, sure. So it was like only 10 minutes away walking. So we went and we were just walking on the beach, talking about different things. You know, he was asking me about how life was in Colombia, which made me think that maybe that was his first time there, but I don't know. Because honestly, I never asked him about that. It didn't occur to me to ask him about it.
So he could have been just making conversation, or he really didn't know.
Right. Yeah, that's, I honestly don't know. But you know, we were just talking about different things, and then we went back to the beach house like around 3 p.m. and then we had food, and then we got back on the bus and went back to the hotel. Now, when we went back Oh, okay. So one of the things that we talked about when we were on the beach is that he proposed to me if I wanted to do an exchange. He said, I will give you a massage as a form of payment for today, for your interpreting. Because honestly, I mean, I wasn't interpreting that day. It was just him and I, like the other days.
Right.
There was no girl. So I said, okay, all right, cool. I said, I'll do it. And then we went back, and then we went to a pharmacy, and he bought some almond oil. And then he said he was gonna still pay me but only for part of it, because part of my payment was gonna be the massage. So he
so
said
Alex
to
was getting
me,
out the magic hands.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he asked me to come upstairs with him because he didn't have any cash. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. So I went, and let me think. So that day, I think that's the day I went upstairs, and when he was gonna give me the money, he kissed me, and I stopped him and I said, like, what the heck are you doing? And he said, I'm just kissing you. And I said, but we shouldn't be doing this. I work for you. And then he just went back at it. He kissed me again. So honestly, I let him because I wanted to.
Right.
I wanted him to kiss me, if you want me to be honest. I think, let me think. So I left. Did I leave that night or not? Okay, so I think if I get my facts right, so I think that was the evening that started raining like really, really hard. It was like a very bad storm. And it was almost like maybe 7 or 8 at night. And I wanted to go home. And he said, don't go. I don't think it's a good idea, because in my hometown, well, back then, not anymore, but like the sewage system wasn't good. And whenever it rained hard, like you would see like water streams on the streets. Like it was pretty much like a river, like a dangerous river in Montana.
Yeah, like it backs up.
Yeah.
The gutters, they can't handle all that water at once.
Right. So he told me, like, I don't think you should go back. It could be dangerous. You should stay the night. So when he said that, that was like a red alarm for me. I was like, okay, this guy wants me to stay because he probably wants to do me. So I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. And he said, I think you should stay. So I was like, okay. I said, okay, I'll stay. So I stayed, and we were, talking and watching TV. And then I finally went to sleep, but I pretended that I went to sleep because I was like very nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a bedroom with a stranger who asked me to stay. What am I doing?
You're questioning yourself. You're like,
I was questioning
myself.
myself, and I was like, if my mom knew, what would she say? Like, this is not how I was raised. I mean, my mom didn't raise me to stay over with a stranger, but I pretended that I was sleeping, and so did he, because I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like we were on the bed with our eyes closed, and then I think he kind of like grabbed my hand, and when he did that, I got up, and so did he, and then we started kissing like savages.
Then it was on.
Yeah, it was on. And
it was on like Donkey Kong.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, we kind of like got physical, but nothing happened that night because I didn't allow it. I told him that, you know, like we should really stop. Like I can't, I shouldn't do this.
And he
Um,
respected that.
he did. He did. He's like, okay, I understand that. And we did go to sleep. We went to sleep. Um, so the next day, you know, I got in a taxi and I went back home. And then of course I'm telling my friend everything that happened. And she's like, oh my goodness. And you know, we spent like hours talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wanted me like, go for it. She's like, but don't be silly, because I had been in a relationship, and the, you know, my relationship didn't end too well. And I, like, when I met him, I was like kind of like on and off with this other person.
Uh-huh.
And he came into my life, and then, you know, all these things started happening, and he confused me a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, it's not like I ever loved him or anything, but I really liked him a lot.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I left, and then when I came back, that day, I mean, the next day, I think there was no event, but that's when I got there and I texted him and I said, okay, I'm here. Because again, he said he wanted to go out with someone. And then again, I showed up and the girl didn't show.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. And that's when,
Weird.
yeah, super weird. So I texted him and I said, okay, I'm here. And that's when he told me to come upstairs. So when I went upstairs, I wanted to talk to him about what had happened the day before. And, you know, I remember I was wearing jeans and a top and my favorite shoes back then. And I was on his bed just sitting. And I said to him, listen, I want to talk to you. And he said, sure. And I said, I think that what happened last night was very inappropriate. I really want to keep things just, you know, just business related. I mean, I'm working for you and you're going out with these girls and,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And I said, you know, we should just stop. We shouldn't be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I'm going to say is going to sound like super weird, but I remember that I was just like blah, 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 talking. And he's standing in front of me, like listening to what I'm saying. And then next thing I know is like he gently pushed me on the bed. He pulled my pants down and then it happened. We started having sex.
Wow.
Just like that. I mean, I like, you know, after everything that happened and I started, you know, thinking about the things we did and how I was raised and all that. I never thought, I mean, I don't think that he ever took advantage of me because I mean, I was 20 something and
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly what I was doing, but he definitely knew how to play the game.
Mm.
I mean, we're talking, he was 45. I mean, he had experience.
He was 45 at the time.
Yeah, he was 45 and I was in my 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was probably 27.
Okay.
So that happened. And, you know, after that, then we were talking. And here's where I'm going to answer your question. That's when he started talking a little bit about his family.
Okay.
So he told me that he was raised in the Mormon church, but that he wasn't going to the church anymore. And so I asked him why. And he said, well, because I got kicked out. And I said, what do you mean you got kicked out? And he said, yeah, because I like sex too much and you're not supposed to have sex until you get married. I said, okay, I understand that. And that was a view that I shared with him, but obviously I was doing the opposite.
Right.
And of course I had to deal with like all my guiltiness and all that stuff, but that's another thing. Then
yeah, I bet that put you in a really weird position, because you felt like you liked this guy, but then on the other hand, he was there to basically find someone and doing it with money.
Right.
So what a weird like conflict of feelings,
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
Yeah. Crazy.
So I asked him about his family, and all I can honestly remember is he said he never talked about his parents ever.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had siblings, and he said that he had nephews and nieces. And I remember that, and this is something that I didn't want to, when Andrea posted my story, I didn't give like all the details, because I knew it was going to be like an extremely long post.
Right.
But I remember that his computer background, he had a laptop with him. There was a picture of Lori on the background, and there was him, and I cannot remember the other person. It was 3 people on the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that day we were in bed, and we were talking, and then he had his laptop on his legs, and an email came through. And as soon as the email came through, he shut down the computer. He closed it. And I remember I saw the name of a woman. I don't remember the name, but it was a female name. And I said, what was that? And he said something like, oh no, here comes that Colombian, like Colombian women are famous for being jealous. So he's like, he started joking about it. He's like, oh, is that the Colombian thing you do now? Like you get jealous or whatever? And I'm like, I'm not. I said, I'm not jealous. I'm just asking, like, what was that? Like, why would you close your computer like that? He's like, oh, it's not important. So I tried like to grab his laptop. I'm like, what are you hiding? Let me see. And he's like, it doesn't matter. It's not important. So that was the end of that conversation. He also told me about some like sexual experiences that he had with other women.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were talking about the whole why he got kicked out of the church, and he started telling me because I like sex too much.
Mm-hmm.
I went down the rabbit hole, and I wanted to know. I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, like what do you like? Like what?
Yeah. And then he said that he didn't have a type. He said that once he was with an African American woman who was a friend, and that she was very loud, and that was like kind of uncomfortable, because I'm like, okay, I don't need to know that. And then he was like, she couldn't handle the cock's power or something like that.
Oh my God,
he was like bragging about his tool and how manly he was. Yeah.
Wow.
So there was a moment, like a moment that I took to think about what I was doing, and I went to the bathroom, and it's like, when you start talking to yourself, and I was like, what in the world am I doing?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What am I doing here? I said, I have to get the heck out of here, or whatever. I have to leave. And so I left. One thing I forgot to mention is, there's so many details, but one thing I forgot to mention is the night that he asked me to stay, because that was the whole point of him buying the almond oil. That's the night he gave me the massage, because that was the deal that we had.
So you got the massage?
I got the massage, and then it started raining. Okay. And that's when he asked me to stay.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, there was one more day of the tour, and at that time and point, he wasn't, that I knew of, interested in, like going out with anybody. We were going out together. I introduced him to my friends. I introduced him to my sister.
Wow.
And we were pretty much in a, like acting like boyfriend and girlfriend. He would ask me to come over to the hotel to have breakfast with him. The one day we went to the mall, and so he knew about my on and off relationship, long distance relationship. He knew about my boyfriend. And the one day we were having breakfast, he kissed me. And when he kissed me, he asked me if I felt the same thing that I felt when my boyfriend kissed me. And I straight told him, no, I don't feel the same thing.
Wow.
And I cannot say if he liked it or not, but he was like serious about it and he didn't say anything. Then he started asking me to leave my boyfriend, like to end it. And he said that he wanted to marry me. So we went to the mall, and there was a jewelry inside the mall. And then he asked me if I wanted to go and like look at rings and stuff like that. So I thought that was fun. And I said, okay, well, yeah, let's go and do it. And then I tried out some rings. And then when we left, he said, like, how did you feel about it? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I think that was pretty cool. And he said, that's it? You think it was pretty cool? And I said, it was something fun to do. I'd never done that. I don't know what you want me to say. And then that was another moment in which he didn't say anything. Then he spent like one more week with me, just with me. So in total, he was in Colombia like for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that wasn't his own, like that wasn't part of the tour anymore. So he was like paying out of pocket for the hotel. I don't know
when you say tour, was that like his package?
Yes, the tour.
Okay.
So I don't know if he paid just for, I don't know what kind of package he bought to go to that tour.
Okay, gotcha.
But after the tour was done, like that extra week he stayed, that was 100% out of his pocket.
Right,
like
that was in addition to that original vacation.
Right. And so the one thing, or the many things that set the alarm to me about, him, and I think that's the reason why I never, why I never even considered like
being
this
with
guy
him.
could be. Yeah. We were talking one day, and we're thinking about the things of the future, like how my life could be with him living in Arizona. He's telling me that Arizona is super hot, which I figured out because it's like a freaking desert, right? So so I have a dog, and she's the love of my life. Like I wouldn't leave her behind for anything. And I said, okay, so if I come with you, we are bringing my dog. And he's like, no, for what? The dog stays. One thing that I have learned, like growing up my whole life, is that and it's my personal opinion, but I cannot trust someone that doesn't like dogs. Don't ask me why.
Hear you. Mm-hmm.
Don't ask
or
me why.
Or that dogs don't like them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But she never met him though.
Good.
But that was weird. He was like, no, the dog stays. Like, why do you want to get the dog with you? And I'm like, what do you mean why? Because that's my dog. It's like, well, maybe you can get another dog in Arizona. And I'm like, no, I don't want.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You can't replace your dog.
Right. Then we started talking about college. And I said, I would like, if I marry you and I go there with you, I would like to finish college. He said, no, what's the point of having a college degree? It's good for nothing. You can probably work as a condo administrator. So I was like, okay, this guy is like telling me what to do with my life. Like, if I go with him, he's gonna be like a controlling freak. Like, he's gonna tell me what to do and what things I cannot do. And that totally gave me like a very negative vibe about him. And I was like, I don't think so. I mean, who knows why this guy is 45 years old and he has never been married. There's gotta be something wrong with him.
And he's here in Colombia, yeah.
Right, looking for a wife. And there's many Latinas in the States. Like, why come all the way here?
Yeah.
To find one. So my last days with him, were pretty much just going out in the city and seeing places.
Were you guys having a lot of sex?
Not really. So one thing I want to mention is we did it a second time. And the second time when we did it, he really scared me because the look, he had very green eyes. And when we were like, doing it, the look that he had in his eyes was almost like evil.
Really?
Like his eyes, I know this sounds like taken out of a movie, but his eyes like were kind of like shiny, but there was so much lust in his eyes. And I try to like turn off what I was thinking, well, maybe he's just having too much fun, or liking it too much. And that moment made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. Like, you got to listen to your gut. You have to listen to your intuition. And something was telling you this is off.
Yeah, and then he, during the like the 2 times that we were together, he couldn't finish. And so he told me that never happened to him, and that he was gonna go see a doctor once he went back to Arizona.
He didn't want you to not go.
Right.
Wow.
So the last day he was there, I took him to the airport. And I just waited for his flight to, like, for the time to come for him to go back. And we were just sitting at the airport maybe like for 2 hours talking, and he was like buying souvenirs. And then he said, we'll keep in touch, we'll talk. And we kissed, and I said, okay. It was nice meeting you. And
so you made it clear, like, I don't want to marry you type thing?
Not really. I left the door open to that possibility, maybe by 30%, because like I said, I mean, there were some things about him that didn't seem right.
So what would be like the follow-up plan to that? Like, okay, you're going back to America, and we didn't really solidify any kind of plan between the two of us. So how does that end? Like, where do you stand?
So we just said that we would keep talking, and that he would eventually come back. But the thing is that before I met him, I had already landed a job overseas, and he knew that I was not staying in Colombia, that I was going to go overseas. And he even tried to talk me out of it. He said, don't go, just stay here. And, I can come back in a few months to be with you or whatever. But the plan pretty much when he left, besides that, was just to, to talk through Skype.
Just keep in touch. Yeah.
Yeah. So he made it to Arizona. He called me the next day and he told me that he was fine, blah, blah, blah. And then he told me that he had gone to the doctor. And remember that Melanie Pawlowski said that he wasn't the kind of person to go to the doctors and have like checkups and stuff, that he didn't like going.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really know what happened to him, if he changed throughout the years, but when I met him, he was like the kind of guy, sounded like he was always at the doctor. Like he really cared about his, like his well-being and looking good and feeling good and taking his, not medicine, but his vitamins and stuff like that, because he was in good shape for his age.
Yeah.
And so when she said that, I'm like, I don't know. He seemed to be like the kind of person that would see the doctor regularly. So he wanted to talk to the doctor about the fact that, that he couldn't finish. And he said that the doctor told him something like it was probably because he was just too excited about things and he couldn't concentrate.
He's overthinking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And I remember one day he was working and he was on the truck or in the truck, and he always had like a helper with him, and it was a Mexican man. I don't remember his name, but he said they were very good friends. And he put me on speakerphone, and he wanted me to say hi to his friends. So I was like, hey, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, Mr. Alex. He was so cute. He's like, Mr. Alex has told me everything about you. And I said, really? Like everything? He's like, yeah. He said that you're a very nice girl and very cute. So I was like, at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I think he probably told him more than that. Like, I was like, no, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they were just talking about how nice and cute and funny I was. I think
there was a little more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that was one of the conversations. The last time I spoke to him was a few days prior to me traveling to Europe. And again, he wanted me to drop it. He's like, don't go, don't go, don't go. And then he wanted me to actually take a flight that would connect to like Arizona, and then for me to he's like, I would pay for it. And I'm like, are you crazy? That's gonna take me
for you to go out of your way to go to Europe and come spend some time with Alex.
Right. I was like, and plus the kind of visa that I had wouldn't allow me to do that. Because it wasn't a tourist visa. It was like a business kind of visa. So
sure, right.
I was like, no, I mean, I can't. And I'm just glad I did, because, I mean, some people might think I'm being like dramatic about it, but I mean, if he was really this dangerous person that he seemed to be, who knows? I mean, what if he done something to me?
Yeah,
Kidnapped me or something.
I mean, it sounds like, and that's why I asked you if you ever talked about his family, because it seems like he really would do anything for his sister Lori.
Mm-hmm.
And those dynamics there are so strange.
Yeah, but he never did. I mean, the name Lori never came out of his mouth. Actually, nobody's name. He just said, I have siblings and nieces,
just general
nephews.
Conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't mean to take you back to the hotel room, but I'm going to take you back to the hotel room for a second.
let's go.
Okay, so we're back in the hotel room and we're in bed with Alex Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Is Alex like what's he like? Is he vanilla? Is he kind of freaky? Is he rough? What's his demeanor? Because you said, it made me think of that question only because you said this look in his eye, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding like what kind of a look, you mean.
Yeah.
Was it like a evil look, like a blank, like there's nothing, nothing in the eyes, like how you
Like he's
someone looks
dead
right through you type
yeah.
thing?
Yeah. So when that happened, I was on top of him, and he had big hands and they were strong. He was holding me by my waist, and he wasn't rough. Actually, he was normal. He wasn't
It
rough.
wasn't anything like, oh my God, that guy's a freak, or
No, but like, so he had his eyes closed and then he opened them, and then we met, right? I'm looking at him, he's looking at me,
right?
and just the look that he had while I was doing him, it was just like, how can I explain this? It was just dirty. And one thing is being like sweet dirty, but this was like evil dirty. Like, you know what is actually, this is going to sound freaky and it really scares me to think about it. But it felt like he wanted to possess me. That's how it felt.
Like he wanted to own you.
Yes, but I'm talking more like in a spiritual level.
Ooh.
Like the way he looked, it was something else. It was dark. I mean, like he had lust in his eyes, but it was like a scary kind of look that he had. It was like, because I mean, I have never looked at myself in the mirror when I'm doing the thing, but
yeah.
I mean, when you're with someone and you love that person, and you're having a good time and you're enjoying it, and that's healthy.
Yeah.
And if you look, at each other, it's like
you're in the moment.
Yeah, but this was different. It was like, I don't know. It felt like that, like if he wanted to possess me, like with the way he was looking at me, he was telling me like bitch, you're not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, you're mine.
Right. And that was
like a possessive.
Yeah,
feeling.
it was scary. Yeah.
Well, it's really good that you actually picked up on that, though.
I know.
Because there's a lot of women who might not.
Oh, I know.
And you just never know, like, where you're going to end up. Because, I mean, what a freaky feeling. I mean, it's almost like he felt like he had you at this level where he had you where he wanted you, like, not literally, but, I've worked this and now I'm almost to my goal,
Right.
Yeah, because you didn't get that vibe until that moment, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, not before. No, but it wasn't until we started, like when that happened and when we started talking about the things that I would be able to do living here.
And he wasn't interested in you bettering yourself.
Correct.
Basically, you were going to come here and you were going to be Alex's sex slave. Basically.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
He didn't want you to be an individual. He didn't want you to be your own person.
Right. And, now that makes me wonder if that's how the women in his family are. Because I don't think that Lori, I mean, like, I know that she worked, like, she had a salon, right? Like a hair salon and stuff.
Yeah.
She was pretty much like
pampered.
Right. When she was living with Joe Ryan and then with Charles.
She always married men that could take care of her.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then Janice, I don't know much about her and Barry. I assume that Barry was able to keep up with her lifestyle with
It looks like it. It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of those same dynamics come right from those parents.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear from a source, I believe it was Carl, that said this on one of my live streams. He said that I believe Lori's father had been in trouble with the law with something with prostitution.
Yeah.
He had solicited someone for sex.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that he also traveled.
Really?
Yes. And that's why I asked you, was his dad there? Because I would have to go back. I believe it was on one of my lives with Carl. Carl had so much information that there's no way I could retain all of it,
Oh my gosh, send me the link. I would like to listen.
I will. Yeah. I mean, and I was just coming into this case. So I was still playing catch up kind of everything. And he just had all this info. And, I would love to go back and listen to it. I will send you the link for sure.
Okay.
But he did say something about her dad traveling. It could have been Colombia.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
he's out of
Maybe he was
country.
confused at the time with Alex. I don't know. Did Carl say the reason? I don't remember. We'll have to go back and listen to it.
I don't remember that
But
either.
it's yeah, that's what I remember when you started talking about this whole trip or tour, it brought back memories of her dad, Barry. I know he had solicited someone for sex and got in trouble for that. But also I do remember him traveling outside of the country as well.
One thing that I forgot to mention to you, now this came to my mind. I remember that he told me once that like he grabbed my arm and like he rubbed his hand in my arm and he said like, look at you. Like you're not too dark. You're like your skin is actually very light. You could actually look American. And I was like,
Wow.
why is this guy looking at like the you like what where is that coming from?
Yeah, why is he worried about how dark I am?
Right. And when you look at how Lori and everybody else in the family look, I
Blonde
wonder.
hair, blue-eyed,
very light skin.
Yeah,
right.
Fair.
And
yes.
so I wonder if there was something like racial going on, because at the very end he gets with Sulema, right? And then people reported that they saw Lori arguing with him like outside of the house. So I know that people have said that they were arguing probably about such and such, like something else. But I always wonder if they were arguing, like Lori was telling him that you're bringing shame to the family because he was with someone like her. Now, I don't know if the relationship was real because it looks like it was fake.
So wait, what do you think they were arguing about? Say that again.
About the fact that Alex was with Sulema. And she's not, she doesn't look like
she's
them.
Not,
she's
yeah,
Hispanic.
she's not the typical white.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I've heard it thrown around that it was speculated that he was gay.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people like were saying that. Like even there was even this guy, and I blocked him because he was kind of like a jerk. His profile said that he is gay and he's a comedian, and he was asking like, how do we know this is true? Do you have proof that this is true? And I'm like, wait a second. This guy is in Arizona. He's gay and he's a comedian. Like, why is he asking about Alex this way? Like, I was going to ask him, like, did you two know each other?
Hook up? Yeah.
Yeah, but then he said something like really stupid. And I told him that he was a jerk. And he said, thank you. And then I blocked him.
Do you think he really knew him?
I don't know. I'm going to go back and maybe unblock him and see.
I mean, people just come out of the woodwork, you know what? You don't know
Yeah.
if they're real or legit or not.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing about Alex was he liked Adele a lot.
Really?
Yeah, he in the hotel he had a I think it was a playlist on his computer, and he really liked Adele, and we would sing together.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe maybe that's gay.
Oh my God.
Not.
Oh my God, you crack me up. You are so sweet. Thank you for sharing all this. Oh my gosh. I see why you wanted to wait for your hubby to leave.
I know.
So, okay, so take me now. All right, so we fast forward from 2013.
Yeah.
Is that the last time that you spoke with him?
Yeah. It was like in November, the last
Okay.
time we spoke. Like we spoke a lot through Skype.
So the contact just kind of ended, or just like this isn't going to go anywhere and fizzled out, or what?
No, the thing is that, I told him that we were gonna keep in touch, but when I was working overseas, free internet in Europe is not free like it's here. I should say internet in Europe is not free like it's here. Like it's hard to find like spots where you can actually connect
Really?
to talk to people. Yeah. And so I actually didn't have much communication with him or family, maybe for a few days. And plus buying like an internet package at the place where I was, it was kind of expensive.
Was Alex hooking you up with any cash?
No. Mm-mm.
No?
The only thing he offered to me was to pay for that trip to Arizona. Yeah, he said he would pay for it.
Oh, he'd pay for it if you gave up your life and came and lived with him?
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
I know, right? I know.
God.
Yeah, but then when I started working, I connected again with my boyfriend, and we kind of got back together until we did for real, and that's my husband now. So
Oh, that's who you're married. Oh, wow.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're living in America, right? And then this, I don't know what state you live in, but this case breaks, right? These kids are missing. Is that? Tell me about when you heard about this case.
Sure. So it was this year. We don't really have like cable TV because we don't think it's worth paying for that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Nope,
we
I'm
pretty
with you.
much have. We do streaming, so we have Netflix and we have YouTube TV. So even the news, like I even read my news on my cell phone
On Facebook, yeah.
yeah. So I came home, we went grocery shopping, and I came home, and then I turned on the TV, and I was just looking for something to watch on YouTube. And then I think it was CBS News or something like that. I see that the headline said Arizona or Utah mom, Lori Vallow, has not said yet where her kids are. And I've always been attracted to ever since I was little, to crime stories and stuff like that. So I was like, what is this? And so here I see Nate Eaton in Hawaii going after Lori and Chad, saying Lori, where are your kids? There's so many people in the country praying for them. And, she had this attitude like she's better than everybody else. And I was
it's kind of
this?
shocking, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, who is this psycho and who acts like that when her children disappeared?
Yeah.
I was like, that is so weird. And then
that could have been your sister-in-law.
Yeah.
I know. Imagine
That's a scary thought, huh?
Imagine that. Ooh, no, heck no. Well, thank you, Jesus, it didn't happen. And then I told myself, I'm just going to look that up later to, to see the whole story. And I totally forgot about it. And a week or 2 weeks later, I'm on Twitter. I'm just, scrolling up and down. And then I see this news from the Daily Mail UK, and it's a picture of Lori, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the wacko lady that I saw on the television on YouTube. So I opened the article and I start reading, and oh my goodness, when I see Alex's picture, I almost dropped my phone. And then as I kept reading, I read that he's dead. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what happened? And then of course I start, reading that he is a suspect, that he killed Charles Vallow. And then I'm like, what is all this? And I started like looking for articles and conversations on Facebook. And then a woman like she left a comment on something I posted. I think I found Nate Eden, and then I found Justin Lum. And I said something, and then someone commented like, oh, you should come join our group. It's called True Crime Underground, and we have
And you had no idea what you were getting yourself into, did you?
Right. It's the first time that I have joined a group like that,
God.
like this in my life. I'm like, okay, so
And it's that one?
Yeah, so I sent my request, and then here I see this character, Carl Danger. He is too much. He cracks me up. I love him.
He's hilarious.
He is so funny. I just feel for him because of what happened with his son and all that.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that, I don't know if this is the first time he does this, but I've always thought that the fact that he's so invested in this case of Tylee and JJ makes me think that he wants to bring justice to them, just because it's, not only because it's the right thing to do, but I don't know, maybe it reminds him of his son.
Maybe it can give him some kind of closure to help others. Yep. And I think, it's crazy because you see that, like, I don't know if you've followed any cases like in the early 2000s here. I don't know how long you've been here, but there was a little girl here in Florida. Long story short, she was kidnapped from her house in the middle of the night by a sex offender that lived next door. And she ended up being killed by him. And her dad has gone on to be like an advocate for, protecting children and getting laws passed so that these sex offenders are tracked. And he had so much to do with the fact that they're, they have to register in the neighborhood they live in and all these different things that he did. And I feel that, some people, that's part of their healing. And maybe that's what that's like for Carl.
Yeah.
Right.
He is very passionate about those two kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really sad. It's really sad.
And I'm sure you see that in Colombia too, like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's I don't want to say that here is more common than there. It's just that here I think that you have more media attention and more access, like, to different things like Facebook and so many like social media platforms. Not that we don't, we do have that there too. We have access to it, but
not here, as much here.
Right. But if you look it up, there is this famous serial killer. My goodness, he killed so many children and teenagers. I don't want to make up numbers, but I want to say maybe close to 400. His name.
Where?
In Colombia. His name is. Jeez, I don't remember the first name, but his last name is Garavito.
Was he caught?
Yeah, he was. He's still serving time.
So tell me what prison is like in Colombia.
Crappy.
If you get a life sentence in Colombia, what do you think what is your day going to be like? A day
So
in the life?
that's a problem that we have in Colombia because we don't have life sentences.
Really?
Yeah, no, we don't. Actually, people who commit serious crimes, they spend little time in jail. Like there is this guy that, um, like a rich guy in the capital in Bogota. He kidnapped this little girl, like 7-year-old, from a poor neighborhood, and he brought her to his apartment. He raped her and then he killed her. And then they sent him to jail because when people found out who he was, they went to he owned many buildings in the city, like apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was staying at one of these apartments, and people went there and they pretty much destroyed like the outside of the place, like telling the guy to come out because they were gonna kill him. And so police came and they sent him to jail. But because there's a lot of corruption, like every government, there's corruption in every government, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's even more corruption in my country. They put him in a jail cell with privileges. Like the guy, had pretty much a nice room in jail that they prepared for him, and he had access to like nice food and internet and television.
Wow. What the
Yeah,
heck?
because money talks. He had a lot of money. He was a rich guy, and they only gave him. He's still serving, but they only gave him like 20 years. But what he
Wow.
did was brutal. I mean, the way that he killed her. And they know that it was him. So we don't have life, not even for rapists. But that's something that they're trying to change.
Wow.
But jails over there, I've never been to one, but they are at full capacity. Sometimes the people there have to share beds because
So that's probably why they're not doing those life sentences. They don't have anywhere to put them.
No
right,
accommodation.
right. Yep.
So before your hubby gets home,
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 questions I want to ask you.
Yeah.
The first one is, what is your theory now that you've, followed the case? Obviously, you've pretty much seen and read everything that's out there if you're in that underground group.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your theory on Alex and his death and his role, I guess, in this case?
So my theory is that Alex didn't know what he wanted in life. And I think that he never felt he was part of anything. And when he found this group that offered him, I don't know who knows what kind of, fake hope. And then when he found Sulema, who, probably helped him with his emotional issues, I think he was I think the word is gullible or gullible.
Mm.
I'm saying it right.
You got it.
Yeah,
You got it
gullible.
the first time. Yeah, gullible.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. I think that he finally felt like he was part of something. And I think that the fact that he probably, he drank the Kool-Aid big time. Like, I think he really believed everything that Chad and Lori told him. And, being that he was Lori's protector, because she said that to Ellie, right, in one of the, like, when they go to her house to inquire about JJ. And is the call that they played in court, and she's telling them that, oh, he's just out with my friend, that friend being Chad, but they were already married. And he's like, my family is trying to kill me, but my brother, who is pretty much my protector. When I heard her say that, I'm like, okay, I don't think there was anything sexual going between the two of them. I could be wrong, but I think that he took that protector's role to an even higher level, because now we are talking about Lori being a translated being